本当？見えないでしょ？どこにいるのかな？見えないよ。
What's good, Internet? Welcome to Waypoint Radio's Sekiro Spoilercast. I'm your host, Austin Walker, and joining me today, a room filled with ninjas and shinobi and shadow assassins, and yeah, those are shuriken being thrown right now.
Damn.
You already know what it is. That is the voice of Kato here on the mixing board, also a ninja master in his own right.
Hi.
Hi.
I was being quiet.
Right. I got you. Coming from the Shinobi School of Chicago, Patrick Klepek.
Yeah, I haven't graduated yet, just like I haven't beaten this game, but I'm awful close.
You're very close. And someone who I think at this point is probably the only person here, or maybe that's not true. Kata, did you beat all of the side bosses and stuff?
Depends on not the second not other endings.
Oh, not other ending.
But like
Joel, you have also not beaten the second set of the bad ending side bosses, but other than that, you've completed this game.
Yeah, I got the good quote unquote ending.
Yeah, same.
The long ending.
The long end. Well, yeah, yes. Sekiro is a game that came out earlier this year, I guess last month at this point, and I think it took all of us. It took kind of all of Waypoint's offices by storm. I beat it about a month ago. Kato and Joel wrapped it up in the last couple of weeks. Patrick, you were knocking at the end of the game's door. We are going to go deep into spoilers all the way through, even the stuff that Patrick hasn't quite seen yet.
Look, I made it to endgame without getting spoiled, so do whatever you need to do about Sekiro. I've already made my piece.
That's it. That's all we need. And so we're going to talk about everything, just like letting you know up front. I'm not gonna start being like, oh, spoiler warning for this boss. Like, no, we're just everything is on the table, and we're gonna dig into it all the way through. And we're gonna start with a really general question, which is like, what'd you think? Do y'all like this video game? You think like now that we're like on the other side of it? I mean, it took me 45 hours to beat, so I'm guessing it probably took y'all about the same, or give or take. And I'm curious, like, did it work for you all the way through? Are you happy with it looking back on it now? And how does it feel as like in your personal rankings of FromSoft games, stuff like that?
Y'all know me. I play a lot of Destiny. Destiny is a game that changes week to week. Yeah, there's like new quests and there's new story stuff every week now, like that you can go do. I didn't touch Destiny for like a month there, like because I just needed to keep playing Sekiro like every single night.
You were streaming it.
I was streaming it.
Yeah, every time I would log in, like check the Discord at night to just make sure there weren't any fires I needed to put out, it would just be a quiet Discord and Kato streaming Sekiro. Like, that was my constant every night.
Yeah, I couldn't stop playing it. It really got its hooks in me. I super enjoyed it. Didn't check in on anything else while I was playing it because I just needed to see more of the game. Ended up getting to the end game faster than I thought I would because I skipped a lot of side content.
Yeah.
And then went back and did all of that side content pretty late.
It's a pretty open game in that regard, right?
Which is cool.
It's a remarkably open game in that regard. Like, I've been reading some things online where people are talking about having finished the game, like skipping what seemed like large chunks of essential parts of the game, but as it turns out, aren't. And then even just the order in which you can do things, like the game funnels you in a direction, but allows you to go off that path really easily.
Yeah. There's for instance, have y'all fought the Great Ape or the what's the actual name of that
Guardian
Ape? And then did you fight it the second time?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You obviously fought it the second time because that fight is the Guardian Ape being like, oh, by the way, you're not done with me yet. But the Guardian Ape can pop back up in a certain place.
Where?
So, do you know that?
Wait, you didn't
this is totally possible. The same thing that happened to me, Patrick happened to me. Okay, do you know the poison pit area where there's one of the two snake eyes?
Yeah, which I let that motherfucker just sit in the poison and kill himself.
Perfect. Good. So behind that fight, there's like a bunch of weird little caverns, and there's a big open cavern.
There was, there was a, the morning, I, like, couple days a week I get like an hour to play a game before
Mhm.
work because Jessica goes to daycare, and I happened to hit that poison area. I spent most of that 45 minutes that I had to play watching him slowly poison himself, put the controller down. Then I get through that area and I'm thinking like, well, I'll just poke my head around the corner even though I got to sit down and start working. And I see like this big open area. I'm like, oh damn. Like
Here it
there's like
comes.
blood on the ground. Like there's a fight in there. Put the PS4 into rest mode. I do not have time to tackle this right now. Then I'm all psyched that night. Like, boom, put it on.
Yep.
Walk into that room,
Nothing.
waiting for the cutscene.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
So
What?
So that's because of the order in which you can do some things.
Uh-huh.
You can get there before you've killed Guardian Ape. And you can
Damn.
move through that whole place. You can go through it and you get past it and go do all the shit that's on the other side of it. Because does that go to Mibu
What?
Village? Does that go to the Fog Village?
I don't remember. at
It's
this
been a
point.
while since I played. But like you can get past it because it's not there because it hasn't died once yet.
Right.
Right. So then later I was happened to be passing through it just on a whim.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like I've already come through here. This place was fine. And then that same area will get another different boss in
That
it.
that
after
happened to
that.
me because I was
Yes.
like going back through. I was like, I already killed these apes.
What's the trigger?
If you've already killed Guardian Ape with the Mortal
Yeah.
Blade, it will
Yes.
retreat. It will show back up, or even with the Mortal Blade, I guess. Right? I guess.
once you have the mortal blade.
But you've already killed the Guardian Ape by then. So how does
No.
it? Oh, is it a different Guardian Ape?
No, it's the same one. You don't kill it the first time because you're not supposed to have the mortal blade. You don't use the mortal blade the first time. You do not sever immortality.
Oh, interesting.
You do a
You're
shinobi
right. You do a
execution,
shinobi
doesn't work.
execution.
And then you
Right.
kill it the second time.
with the Mortal Blade.
and then, yeah, that's when it actually disappears
Right.
forever.
So there's all that stuff.
Yeah.
Joel, sorry.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, so there's lots of little things like that throughout the game where there's like weird cascading,
Yeah.
game state stuff that's pretty interesting. Joel, did you get that boss? And also, what do you think about Sekiro?
Oh, I really, really. This is probably the first time. I'm trying to think. This is the first time in a long time where I went on a work trip to LA and packed a bigger suitcase than I needed.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I was listening to y'all's podcast with Open Mike Eagle, and I was like on my way to the hotel, like, please let there be HDMI on this motherfucking weird hotel TV. And there
don't
was.
let it be screwed in.
Yeah, yeah, don't
I've
let it
had
be
those
screwed
before
in.
where you can't take it out.
Listen, it still had the weird like proprietary hotel bullshit, and I was playing Sekiro on like 720p on like a 1999
There you go.
LG.
Dedication.
But Genichiro didn't know the difference, and
Damn.
and that was the fight I was on at that moment, and I was on that fight for probably 4 days, 3-4 days,
Whew.
and it wasn't like 3 or 4 days of playing all day, but
Right.
all right, I'm gonna try this for an hour. I'm gonna try this for an hour. So yeah, if that says anything about my experience with this game, I took my PS4 to Los Angeles to keep playing, and at the very end, I was just like, I found myself. I don't know if you had this experience, Austin, but I was like, right after I finished the final boss, I was just like, I want to still like, I want to fight people ninja style, like
Uh-huh.
more.
Uh-huh.
And
big mood. Absolutely.
it's like the combat was the biggest hurdle because I was, the last Souls thing I played through was remastered, and I did a magic build where I didn't have to touch anything.
Wow.
Christ.
Yeah, I showed Austin my final boss video. I basically like shot the boss 4 times
It's
with
so
a dark
funny.
bead,
Yeah.
and it's
That's
gone.
extremely good. That's part of why I love that game.
Right. Well, and this
And so
game
this
doesn't
is the
have that in the
opposite.
same way. Yeah,
No,
totally.
not at all.
But by the end of it, I found myself just like wanting more of that, like in your face, trading blows combat, because to get through this game, you have to kind of fall in line with their system. Like there's not as many ways around it as there were with Dark Souls
Yeah.
or even Bloodborne, where you could kind of like, okay, this is my play style, this is the build I'm going to go for. You kind of had to fall in line with the lessons it was trying to teach you. And at first that was really frustrating. That's why Genichiro took me 4 fucking days. But when it clicks, and Austin kept saying like in our Sekiro Discord, like, you've downloaded that fight, and it's a noticeable difference. You go back in, you get through a phase that had like kicked your ass like flawlessly, and it feels so fucking good.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And I think
It's probably. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say it probably ended up being my favorite combat in the Souls game, but my least favorite world
Huh.
in the Souls games. I like the high fantasy elements of the Souls stuff a lot, and while I liked the dynamic of Sekiro of like only having a little bit of that stuff,
Right.
and grounding a lot of it, I've found a lot of the enemies just to be like not very memorable or interesting. Like the fighting them was memorable and interesting, but aesthetically, I found the game kind of disappointing and bland, and was wishing there was more of the flourishes that I enjoyed out of Bloodborne and Souls in Sekiro.
It was so interesting to me to see them go in that direction and restrain themselves from the, like, there's the famous Miyazaki quote about the nobility of the decaying dragon, last of its kind, from that Dark Souls art book. And I think a lot of that aesthetic, like Dark Souls and Bloodborne are very different games in a lot of ways.